He had the cheat ability to do anything he wanted in the game, but decided to play it like normal and be ordinary. You see, this MC is one of those spineless fools who follow rules without question. He kinda reminds me of Randall Weems, but on steroids. I feel like if anyone does something out of line, he will snitch harder than 6ix9ine. The story begins with just another mundane day at Louisa Village, where Nicola picks some fruits and sticks from the forest. She exchanges greetings with some guys who are preparing to go for a hunt. Their little peaceful life ends abruptly when monsters known as hoimoi dragons appear close to their village. Everyone is stunned because the monsters are supposed to live deep in the mountains. Nicola is sure that they will be fine because she has heard that the creatures are peaceful. The villagers panic and begin to run as the monsters move. Nicola is frozen in fear and closes her eyes as the giant foot of the monster comes down. Haga jets his hand out of the bushes and grabs her leg and tells her not to move because where she's currently standing is safe. She can feel that Haga is shaking too. The two patiently wait for the creatures to pass, but she gets startled when Haga exits his camouflage state. The big guy makes her hold on for a moment while he composes himself because vigorous shaking has always made him feel sick. He sends her to his tent base and tends to her leg as he apologizes for grabbing it too hard. The two exchange greetings and the young lady reveals that she works at the village inn. He informs her that he's come to observe the hoimoi dragons and advises her to go back to the village while she still can. The ground starts to shake again, prompting them to rush out only to find one of the dumbass creature's paths blocked by a cliff. Haga documents its behavior since he has never seen such actions before. Nicola guesses that his job is to investigate monsters. The auditor discloses that he examines everything that's going on in the world. Nicola goes back to work where she informs everyone of the strange guy that saved her. An old-timer feels like he might be a king's seeker. A lot of weird things have been going on in the kingdom recently, like monarchs and their heirs suddenly falling ill, and monsters also acting out of character just like what they witnessed earlier. The king has sent out a secret investigation force across the kingdom. These individuals are said to be the most elite troops. Nicola admits that Haga was investigating something. One of the guys wonders why a king's seeker would come to their small village. The lady thinks about the burly man and doesn't think he gave the vibe of an elite soldier to her from his actions. Whatever the case is, the men just hope this stranger leaves soon. Nicola is called into the kitchen to help. As the young lady prepares the food, she thinks about how extraordinary the day ended up being. She overhears an elf singing a song about an adventurer that saves the world, which gets the customers excited. This only makes Nicola want to find out what's going on in the wider world. Meanwhile, Haga forges some arrows in preparation for something. He admires his hard work, stating that it should be enough ammunition for his intention. He uses his remaining time to submit a report. He writes about the observation of the hoimoi dragons and the one that showed odd behavior. Once he finishes, he removes a tablet and places the paper and sends it. It digitizes as a blue light takes it up. Nicola witnesses this when she comes to see him and guesses that Haga must be special if he can use magic. The auditor gets startled and falls over when he hears her footsteps near his tent. He quickly puts his tablet back into its case as the girl apologizes for the sudden visit. She has come to give him some food as a thank you for him saving her. She comments on how he acts a lot weaker than he looks. Haga confesses that his action reflects his strength levels more. She serves him some of the food, and he admits to being one of the king's seekers. The girl gets excited and wonders if he's doing the job alone. His sad reaction makes her regret asking. Haga tastes the food and remarks on how delicious it is. She's happy to get positive feedback and asks him to tell her stories about the outside world. Neither her nor anyone in the village has seen the outside world. Their village is so peaceful that the mundaneness is comical. The excitement of almost meeting her demise was a welcome change. Their conversation ends abruptly as the ground quakes after a loud thud. Haga lost track of time because he spoke to her for too long. He composes himself after experiencing the shaking and asks Nicola to get back to the village and tell them to evacuate because a huge hoimoi dragon is coming to attack the settlement. Haga is determined not to let Nicola meet her demise. The creature enters attack mode as it spits out a second mouth and shoots some fire. All the while, the girl warns everyone about the upcoming danger. They quickly grab what's important and take shelter at a nearby hill. She just hopes that she has done a good enough job. The villagers can see the dragon from that vantage point and can also spot Haga walking towards it. Some call him stupid and even speculate that he's the one that brought the creature. Nicola doesn't believe this to be the case since the guy saved her. She now understands that the arrows and barrels were all in preparation to fight this creature, and wonders if the auditor can defeat such a creature alone. Haga stands before the monster and unleashes an arrow that hits the hoimoi dragon, but it does little damage. The villagers are a bit confused because the creature is too big for such a small arrow to do any damage. The auditor then grabs one of his barrels and pushes it down the cliff, which causes a giant explosion that blows back the creature. Haga shoots an arrow again before dropping another barrel. Nicola reveals that he uses the blast to make the monster back away, and when it flinches, he shoots an arrow at it. The village find his method of fighting to be dull. The girl reminds them that the guy is fighting by himself to protect them and the village. The inhabitants start to feel a little guilty about their comments. Nicola is not going to lie and say this fighting style is cool. In fact, Haga is nothing like the cool heroes in the stories and ballads. Despite this, seeing him fight is moving. He continues this pattern of attack till the night, and is starting to get tired as the barrels at the back get further away from him. This is giving the Hoimoi dragon a chance to get closer. He begins to think that this plan might not work, but then the villagers come down armed with bows and a willingness to help him move the barrels and fight. He accepts their assistance and gets them hyped by saying that they should protect the village together. Everyone rushes forward, and after repeated attacks, the Hoimoi dragon lays there defeated. Haga confirms its demise, prompting everyone to cheer. Nicola hugs the guy, relieved that he's okay. He also checks to make sure that she wasn't hurt during the fight. The girl wants to know if monster elimination is also part of his job description, which he verifies. She admits that watching him fight made her not want to take their quiet life for granted. She wants to have the power to be able to deal with these types of incidents when they come around. She pleads with Haga to allow her to journey with him as his student. Her face lights up as he's about to give his response, thinking he's going to say yes, but he rejects her application. Smoke suddenly starts to emanate from the girl, to her confusion. Shortly after, she spontaneously combusts like she's from Fire Force. She's puzzled as to why this is happening. Haga apologizes while crying and says that this event has a fixed outcome. Even if he cheats and beats the Hoimoi dragon, the story makes sure that Louisa village gets wiped out. His job is to make sure that this happens. This world is in a game, and the King Seeker is just what players are called in this realm. Haga's real job is to check for bugs and report them. He has abandoned this quest countless times and seen Nicola meet her demise in many ways. However, this is the last time he does that. All the villagers have met the same fate. He leaves the pile of ashes and heads back to his tent. This triggers a flashback to when him and other developers jumped into the latest realistic VR MMO game called King Seeker Online. They got excited with their character builds. It is revealed that the tablets he sends his reports from are called debugger stones. This allowed them to communicate issues in the game to the other members of the development team. These stones are also linked to their ID, which is why Haga was so protective over it. After a while, Haga, Jin, Suzuki, Namiko, and Kuroj started to lose track of how long they have been in the game. Kuro was too busy having fun in debug mode in order to pass the time. The group later tried to log out of the game when they realized that it was not possible. It has been a year since they entered the game and the others have abandoned their mission, but Haga has been doing his job finding bugs because he's a rule-abiding coward. The guy is hopeful that he will be able to leave one day if he continues to report the bugs. Currently, he wonders if being able to defeat the Hoimoi dragons is a defect. Haga hears some footsteps outside as he documents this potential finding. He wonders if his companions have come back, but he opens the tent door to find a dazed Nicola standing there to his shock. He is confused because not so long ago, she burned to ashes right in front of him. Haga grabs her before she falls to the ground and questions if she too is a bug. He promptly takes her back to his tent and cannot believe she is really alive despite the fact he has witnessed that village burn multiple times without any survivors. He thinks perhaps he's going crazy, but he decides to write a report for the developers to fix this bug just in case. However, the girl soon wakes up and startles him to the point he falls. The next day, she helps him pack so he can move on with his journey. She tags along with him because it was always her dream to see the outside world by accompanying a seeker. Haga notes that this is different to her usual storyline, but he pauses on sending the report for now. Haga's task is to head to Bale Castle so that he can report his findings, but he tells Nicola that there will be a number of stops in a few towns on the way there. After journeying for some days, they finally arrive at a town called Adan, and Nicola is excited to be experiencing something new. Her excitement soon turns to shock when she sees Haga dragging his face up and down the perimeter wall. The poor girl thinks he has lost his mind and asks him to explain, so he tells her this is the procedure for debugging. What he is essentially doing is making sure that there aren't any gaps in the wall for people to pass through, and the only way to be certain is to do a physical examination, which is what he is doing. If there are any anomalies, he writes it and reports it. Nicola understands, so she joins him in this madness, while the NPCs look on confused. Their behavior catches the attention of these two particular people who visit them later that night. The blonde one named Sakai finds it strange that they are camping outside the town instead of inside. Haga thinks it is a quest and asks them who they are. Nicola is freaked out by them, so she runs behind Haga. He explains to the strangers that he is a seeker on a mission, but the blonde guy comes closer and then stabs Haga. Apparently this is his sick way of saying hello, but Haga doesn't know this and believes them to be a threat. At this point, he sees the debugger stone the strangers have and quickly realizes that they are quality testers just like him, so he creates a distraction using a stun bomb and then runs away with Nicola. The knight in armor named Sumida wants to follow them right away, but Sakai tells him to chill and then enters the tent. He is surprised that someone is still taking the job seriously. He is disgusted by Haga's rigor, so they decide to follow him. Meanwhile, Haga and his companion have barricaded themselves in one of the towers, which will prevent the two guys from entering. Nicola is more concerned about his injury, so he tells her not to worry, because he has the potions that will restore him. She is amazed to see that he is perfectly fine after ingesting the concoction. Haga proposes that they hide in there for up to a few months to let this situation pass, since he doesn't know what their intentions are. He explains to Nicola that although they are in the same line of work, they are not friends, nor does he know who they are. Unfortunately for them, Sakai finds the two when he passes through a solid wall using debug mode. Haga is vexed because that mode is only to be used in emergencies, and using it can create more bugs in the game. Sakai finds his seriousness funny and reminds him that they are in an emergency since they aren't able to log out and return to the real world. Sakai believes that now that they are all stuck, debuggers need to stick with each other, so he invites Haga to join his group known as the Playing Incorporation. Haga and Sakai introduce themselves, and it turns out that they worked together on a previous job. Sakai's party is gathering information about debug mode since they do not have a full understanding of how it works, so they spend their days testing it out. This only angers Haga more because they aren't doing their jobs. He thinks that perhaps if they play the game to the end and file all their reports, maybe they can leave. Sumida remembers that they run into a group who express the same sentiment. Haga's attention is caught by this, because some of his old party members might be part of that group. Sakai tries his hardest to convince Haga to give up on his job and to just have fun because even if he gets out, he has nothing waiting for him in the real world. Haga rejects their offer and just wants to carry on doing his job. Sumida has had enough, so he decides that he will take Haga by force. The knight attacks, but Haga slips away again. As they escape, he knows he cannot beat them because they are using debug mode thanks to the stone, which makes them invincible. Nicola suggests that they steal it, so they lure Sumida into a tower. He charges up to attack, but the duo dodge. Sumida flies towards the wall, hoping to bounce off, but that wall has a bug, so he passes through it. Haga manages to take the knight's stone, which leaves him powerless, and as a result, he falls into the abyss for eternity with no way out. Sakai saw everything and thinks it is too risky to go after the two. His only option is to report this to the boss. All the while, Haga and Nicola hide, hoping that nothing will happen, and if they survive the night, they will journey to a place called Advent Altar to see Haga's friends who were his old companions. The following day, they make their way to the destination disguised as a bush by slowly crawling. Haga is afraid that Sakai is still around, so he is being extra cautious. But that should be the least of his worries because Sakai is with his boss to report what happened to Sumida and the situation surrounding Haga. The boss tells him that it is too risky to try and save their companion, so they should just forget about him. They end up enjoying some treats the NPCs made and play human darts with them by throwing and crushing them against a dartboard, which eliminates them. As they play, the boss has a feeling that Haga is going to be a problem in the future, so he suggests that they go after him before he comes to the castle. We cut back to Nicola and Haga, who have arrived at their destination after crawling for 3 days. They make their way through the dungeon, and Haga warns Nicola of the various traps inside, but it seems like she has fallen for one of them when she follows a trail of golden coins. Haga notices that she isn't responding and turns around to see that she is not there. He goes looking for her and sees that she has been taken by some monsters known as coin boys who are about to sacrifice her. But Haga saves her just when she is about to be taken by the giant hand monster. Nicola is so grateful and shows regret for not listening to him. She promises to follow all his instructions going forward. It turns out that 2 of his companions have been stuck in a glitch as a result of using debug mode. Haga has tried everything to get them out, but he hasn't been successful yet. He informs Nicola that they were a group of 5 who were doing their jobs properly until they noticed that they couldn't log out even though a report was filed about this issue. After a while, all of them started using debug mode apart from Haga and the leader. When the three got stuck due to their carelessness, the leader told Haga to stay back and try to find a way to rescue their teammates while he will attempt to complete the game. It was his newly formed group that Sakai and Sumida were talking about. Since Haga has been trying for a year without success in saving his friends, he makes the decision to complete the game. He tells his unresponsive friends that he will return to save them. But as they leave, Nicola seems to have been possessed by something. She takes Haga's and Sumida's stones and flies up to a tower demanding that Haga makes food for her. He is just shocked that an NPC can move like that, but nevertheless, he makes food for her. As she eats, it turns out that the entity that has possessed Nicola's body is the meta AI named Tesla that runs the game. Haga now knows that it was the AI who revived Nicola because she was the closest NPC to him. The AI wants Haga to eliminate the rogue debuggers who are using debug mode to have fun rather than doing their job. Her aim is to make sure they do their tasks so that the game can be completed. Haga wants to know how he can eliminate them, so it shows him by eating the stone belonging to Sumida. It would go after them herself, but it doesn't have the authority to directly interfere with players, so it is trusting Haga to help it since he is the only one doing his job properly within that area. Nicola comes back to her body and doesn't know what is going on. All she knows is that she feels sick. The following day, they come across a village where they can stock up on food, but they are stopped by a guard who has a bug because he is hovering and his hands are stuck in a spread-out position. The guard calls for backup since the newcomers aren't stuck in a T-pose like them. Haga explains to Nicola that this is a bug where the guys don't have any animations, so they are stuck in their default form. Once the guard finds out that Haga is a seeker, he apologizes for bothering him and goes on his way. Haga and Nicola decide to count all those with a bug to file a report for it to be fixed. As they do their job, a homeless-looking hobo with a wanted poster identifies Haga and Nicola as the people he's looking for. That night, they send the report for the development team to fix, and when morning comes, all the bugs have been rectified, so everyone is functioning as normal. Elsewhere in a small cabin, another debugger called Amano hands over a paper to a crippled girl named Lou before heading out to get more sheets. He tells her that he will also look for medicine that might help her walk again. But when Amano enters the heart of town, he realizes there is no need for him to do the T-pose since the bug has been fixed. And just as he's about to put his hand down, Nicola spots him and points him to Haga, so they both think that they must have missed him when counting. Amano is alerted by the new faces and thinks that they are bad news, so he casts a spell on himself which makes him invisible. Haga feels like something strange is going on. He then notices footprints on the floor and follows it to Amano's location. They enter the hut without permission, which I'm sure would have resulted in them getting shot in America, but since the occupant is just a cripple girl with fist for weapons, all she can do is ask them who they are. Haga gets startled and apologizes right away. Lou demands them to leave, but Haga spots some reporting sheets by her bed, so he goes to pick it up. But before Lou can tell him to hold it, he takes them and is surprised to see manga pages. Suddenly, a knife comes flying towards Haga, but he dodges it. Amano isn't playing about and takes Nicola hostage, saying that he will send her to AI heaven if he makes a single wrong move. Amano thinks that the intruders belong to the playing party, but Haga assures him that they aren't his enemy. He even offers Amano to hold on to his debug stone. The tension is ended and the intruders are served some food. It turns out that Amano used to work with Sakai and Sumida and was also a part of the playing crew. He walked out on the group and left his debugging stone when he saw the crazy things they were doing. He later found himself in this town where he could hide and started writing manga for the crippled girl since she can't leave the house freely. He brought joy to her through his stories, and the two formed a close bond, so she allowed him to live there in exchange for keeping the home tidy. Amano reveals that she is an NPC that has the ability to review stories, and that is why he has decided to stay. Haga asks him if he is willing to help with debugging, but Amano rejects and tells them to go on their way. As they talk, Nicola starts crying after reading the manga. Because she is so moved by the story, she even begs Amano for more material. At this point, she is acting like your local crackhead. Lou finds all of this amusing, so Amano allows them into his basement where both Nicola and Haga can read more of his work. While reading, Amano asks Haga if he knows of any formulas that can be used in a medicine to heal Lou's legs, but he denies knowing of any such thing. One of Amano's dreams is to fix Lou so that she can someday go out and explore the world. However, that will have to wait because the house comes crashing down when a giant monster stomps on it after destroying half of the town. The one riding it is the boss of playing, and he has arrived with Sakai after being tipped off by the hobo guy we saw earlier. The boss thinks that Haga and Nicola must have been eliminated, but they are still safe since they were in the basement. Amano is worried about Lou, but he has to wait until the bad guys leave. He remembers his pledge to stay by her side because he enjoys writing stories for her, and Lou is happy with that because she wants to read his manga forever and is eager to know how all his stories end. Amano finally comes out of the rubble looking for Lou. He finds her partially buried, so he tells her everything will be okay because he will get her out, and then after that, he will make a potion that will heal her. But as Haga removes the rubble, he sees something that horrifies him, and as Lou speaks, hoping that her legs are now healed because they feel light, she is optimistic that she can finally see the world with Amano. However, she loses her life because her lower half is no longer attached to the rest of the body. That explains why they felt light. Amano goes into an emotional outburst trying to finish the story, but Lou is already gone. Haga reveals that potions wouldn't work because NPCs in this game are like real humans. Tesla takes over Nicola's body again and reiterates why the playing group needs to be eliminated. Haga asks if she is able to use her AI ability to bring Lou back to life, but she says it is impossible because each NPC is unique and the circle of life applies in the game. Meanwhile, Amano in his anger promises to eliminate the playing group. Haga tells him to think this through and stop acting unhinged. He even offers to help, but Amano bites him after being possessed by the demonic spirit of Luis Suarez. It looks like Amano has calmed down because the following day, they bury Lou. Nicola notices the dead look in his eyes, so she presents him with Lou's necklace, which brings life back into his eyeballs. He is grateful that Nicola was able to salvage it, so he says his final goodbyes to Lou. When Haga and Nicola prepare to leave the town as it is being rebuilt by its people, Amano has decided to follow them on their journey to the castle where the playing group reside. But when he sees that they plan on making the trip by crawling disguised as a bush, he thinks that perhaps they might be useless after all. After a long voyage, they make camp near their destination, where Amano gives information about the playing group so that Haga can formulate a plan. He explains that there are 9 members, including the boss, but they should be okay because most of them have only 3 working brain cells between them. Haga thinks that despite that, it will still be challenging since they are outnumbered, but he remembers that they have the Tesla AI who might be able to help them formulate a plan once they find out what it can do. However, Haga doesn't know how to summon her, and it seems like she appears whenever she likes. So when he gives Nicola food, Tesla takes over, and at first he thinks it is a coincidence, so he takes the food from her, and Nicola is back to normal. Haga and Amano figure out that feeding Nicola is what summons Tesla. It tells them to do whatever they need to do to get the stones because she is more or less useless when it comes to directly interfering with players. So the next day, they make their way to a tower a good distance from the castle to get a look of what they are working with. They see that it wouldn't be possible to just walk to the front gate because the playing group have heavily modified it by breaking the stairs that leads to the castle doors. Amano explains that the bridge was broken to stop the guards from apprehending the group since they embarked on an operation to eliminate all the townspeople. And now that there is a gap, the NPC guards just fall through into the ditch where they are impaled and then eaten by monsters. The access to the castle being removed has ruined Haga's initial plan of getting arrested to get access. Amano pushes him to use debug mode since this is an emergency, but Haga refuses and instead uses a chest that has stored up a lot of energy from his punches to launch themselves to the isolated castle. Amano casts an invisibility spell so that they are not seen, but it can only last a number of seconds. However, they manage to land before being detected. Haga approaches the guards and says he is a seeker working for the king and therefore wants an audience with him. The soldiers pat them down, which is a mechanism done to buy time, while the map of the castle loads up. They are eventually allowed to pass, but they trigger a main quest when a number of knights arrests them, as per the king's request to capture all seekers for causing trouble. Nicola freaks out in jail while Haga and Amano try to find a way out of the cell and complete the quest. Haga explains that all players share the same open world. However, when a main quest begins, players are sent into a different unique dimension so that they do not interfere with each other's progress. This means Haga and his party are isolated from every player until the quest is complete, and once completed, they are taken back to the open world where all the players are. Amano figures that they can scout the castle without any interference or fear of running into the playing group. They find an escape route and pass through a tunnel which completes the first task of the quest. They then need to defeat the head guard up ahead. After entering the battle room, they scout for weapons in preparation to fight the head guard when he arrives. But Nicola ends up stumbling into some unholy adult toys and thinks it is a legit weapon. Haga quickly takes it from her and makes a note of this to report since it will affect the rating of the game, and it might even stop the game from being released. The head guard monster interrupts their confusion and speaks to them in an inappropriate language before attacking. But Haga blocks and dodges because he knows the strike patterns. While fighting, he tells Nicola to write down the report he is dictating about all the anomalies regarding this quest. After a difficult battle, he takes out the monster. As they proceed further into the mission, they get an update to the quest for them to defeat a monster called Ketra before they are able to escape. The group soon find themselves in front of a chained, hideous monster they presume to be Ketra. Once they defeat it, the quest will be completed, which will move them back into the open world. But before they do that, they come up with a plan to take out the boss first by stealing his debug stone. So for this to work, they need to enter the boss's room ahead of defeating the monster. Their idea is to place timed bombs around Ketra prior to making their way to the boss's quarters. Once the bomb goes off and they are securely in position, Ketra will be eliminated, marking the end of the main quest, and the trio will therefore find themselves back in the open world where they can steal the debug stone from the boss. Now that all has been finalized, Haga makes a concoction that puts Ketra to sleep, and he finds an escape route before setting up the bombs. They have about 2 hours until it goes off, so that should be enough time for them to make it to the boss's room and hide. Haga gives Nicola a candle which indicates the time they have left. They come to a location filled with pottery, and Amano accidentally breaks one which spawns a monster. More of them break and more monsters appear, so they make a run for it. But their path is blocked by one up ahead. There are too many monsters for them to defeat. Not only are they incapable without using debug mode, but they also do not have the time to waste. Haga has a crazy idea when he starts breaking more pots, which spawns even more, and as a result of their increased numbers, the game begins to lag, and everything slows down, allowing the trio to easily dodge and make their escape. All the while, Sakai is doing some unlawful experiments with vampires along with another teammate. It seems like they are sick and tired of the boss's behavior, so the rest of the team have a meeting and devise a plan to eliminate the boss. Back with the trio, and they finally arrive at the boss's door. However, there is a knight that looks like a Temu version of Igris guarding the door. Amano says that he has never seen it before because it should not be there, so Haga notes it down to report it. Since they do not have time to waste, Amano casts an invisibility spell so that they can dodge the knight, but it has that 8K vision and spots them right away. They anticipate a fight, so Amano casts a windshield spell around Haga that can block one attack. Fake Igris doesn't waste time and launches an assault that sends Haga flying, which disenables the shield. Looks like it's going to be a long day for them because Haga is bleeding terribly. He knows that it will take more than one life to beat the monster and hopes that the respawn feature works. Amano is able to cast another protective barrier thanks to the magic potion Haga gave him to replenish his magic. Things are looking bad for them as time is running out and they have no chance of beating the monster. Amano tells Haga to use debug mode, but he refuses and says that they will just fall back and come up with a different plan. But then suddenly, the monster disappears without any warning. They do not have time to think why that happened, so they run to the boss's room but are unable to reach because the time is almost up. So they find a chest inside the meeting room of playing group where they hide. The bomb goes off which eliminates Ketra, and they are brought back into the open world now that their main quest has ended. They hear voices which means their plan worked, but when they take a peek, they see that the boss has been betrayed and taken out by his party members. We get a flashback of how this all happened. The boss called a meeting saying that their new goal is to find a way to log out because he is bored of this world. He believes that they have all had enough fun, so it is time to escape. However, Sakai tells him that they had a meeting earlier, and someone came up with an excellent idea. The boss was eager to hear, but he was stunned when his subordinates revealed that they have always hated him and think that it is time for him to retire. They all pounced with their weapons as they impale him. The good guys watch on puzzled by what is going on. Sakai assures the others that their boss will not respawn. All the other debuggers they have dealt with so far have vanished, never to return. The traitors leave their weapons in their boss when they eventually exit the room. The party come out of the chest when the coast is clear. Haga searches the boss and recovers his stone. He presents it to Tesla, who takes over to eat it. Amano is annoyed that the boss met his demise before he could get his revenge for what he did to Lou. He takes out his frustrations out on the corpse because nothing has changed. Haga informs him that there are other bad seekers who need their debugger stones taken from them. The boss's body finally disappears, so the trio make their way out to come up with a plan to deal with the others, but the tower suddenly starts to quake because the traitors are playing Jenga with the blocks of the tower, and it soon comes crashing down with the trio inside. They burst out of the rubble as Sakai and the others pay their last respects to their boss. They are puzzled to see the trio, but Haga is more worried about how they are going to get past 7 seekers who are not ashamed to use debugger mode. He grabs his companions and makes a dash for the castle gate entrance. Sakai informs the others that they should eliminate the trio before they become a big problem. One of them hits the big man with some arrows, but he still stands to their surprise. The mage of the group shoots a huge fireball, but Haga survives that too. He is only stopped when the brute in the group dashes to his side and hits him back with a powerful punch. This gives the traitors the chance to block the entrance. Amano is given an opportunity to rejoin them, but he must grovel first. He concedes and prepares to bow when Sakai stabs his hand and makes it clear that he will be their slave forever since he doesn't have his debugger stone. Amano discloses that he was only pretending to grovel to get into position. He casts a low-level wind spell that gently blows the traitors across the entrance gate and over the guards who would normally check them. They freeze in place as soon as they reach outside the castle. They glitched because the guard search is used to buy time for the map to load, and since they didn't pass through it, their games have been frozen. The trio go through the correct procedure and come out fine. Nicola grabs their stones and potions. Tesla comes out to eat it while Haga heals himself with the potions. They head back into the castle to explore further. The trio are stunned to be confronted by the boss as they enter. He discloses that he had a soul stone that prevented him from perishing. He was able to make one with the vast resources he has access to. Amano just enters a fit of rage when he thinks about Lou. He tries to attack, but the boss easily stops him. The bad guy reveals his intention to play through the game so that he can log out. He wants to team up with Haga since he has the same goal, but the big man rejects him. The boss whispers to Amano that he knows a way to bring Lou back and suggests they make a secret deal. He hands Amano back to Haga and leaves without a fight, but he teases Sakai about his current state. The real king of Bale returns to power, and he gives the order to his guards to capture all seekers who are causing issues in their kingdom. Haga confirms that this main quest is running fine before they head to an inn to rest. Amano wonders what the boss wants by offering him such a deal. Nicola gets some sleep as Haga logs all the bugs they encountered in their time in the castle. Amano interrupts to let Haga know that he is heading out to get some fresh air. He returns to the collapsed tower and retrieves his debugger stone from one of the chests under the rubble. The boss joins him soon after and is happy to see that he got his stone. He wants Amano to use his stone to help him in exchange for bringing Lou back. The white furball agrees to the conditions. He is told that the revival can be completed using a command on the stone. They must head to the grave of the NPC first. Amano promises to deal with the boss if he is lying. The following morning, Haga is woken up by a panicking Nicola. She informs him that Amano has gone. Judging from his bed, Haga is sure that he didn't return home that night. He wrongly recalls the conversation they had before he went out and guesses that Amano is doing some secret training to be a better seeker. Hearing this puts Nicola's mind at ease, so she goes out with Haga to find a job suitable for herself. She looks at the Fighters, Sorcerers, and Hunters Guild, but decides to join her master as a thief, so they walk to the guild where Haga is told what he already knows. Nicola can never pick a job since she is a villager NPC. Haga pays the guy at the Thieves Guild to see what they can do for her, which is not much. Haga is unable to tell Nicola the truth, so he tells her that she can't pick a job unless she is 15. This makes her sad since she is currently 14. Her mentor tries to cheer her up by suggesting they go shopping for gear. During that interval, Amano and the boss arrive at Lou's village. They go to her grave, and he uses his stone to revive her. Amano is surprised to see that the house has returned. He opens the door to find Lou sitting there. He gets emotional, but things take a dark turn when it is revealed that Lou lost all her memories when she was revived. She tells Amano to leave her alone since she doesn't know him. He tears up and apologizes as he sees himself out. The boss seems to have known that the NPC's memories get reset upon revival, but he didn't need to disclose that information based on their agreement. Amano accepts how things have turned out and feels like it is for the best. Back at the city, Nicola struggles to wield weapons because she doesn't have the basic stats. The shop owner shows Haga a special skull weapon that fires a blast power that is based on the latent abilities of the operator. Haga tries it and blows up the target. The shop owner is impressed with the amount of power he managed to pull out of the weapon. Nicola wonders how a blast from her would look like, so she uses it as the vendor tries to convince Haga to buy it. The blast she musters breaks the shop wall and the others behind it all the way to the street. Haga promises to pay for the damages and the skull weapon, and Nicola falls unconscious after using it. All the while, Amano gives up his stone to the boss and feels helpless. Seeing him in such a state triggers the boss, who loses composure because he has an underlining fear that they will not be able to leave the game. He has a wife and newborn baby that he worries about, so he takes a fear resistance potion to keep his sanity. The Black Knight from the castle makes an appearance again and suddenly cuts the boss in half when his guard is down. Amano is sure that he is next. We cut to Haga, who heads to the inn and decides not to report the power of the skull weapon for now, as it could be of help. He checks his stone and sees that he can follow the main story mission and go to whatever kingdom he wants to. Amano interrupts with his entrance, but Haga goes on the defensive when he sees the Black Knight behind him. The white furball tells him to hold on. The knight removes their helmet to reveal a seeker named Akira. She assures Haga that she is not their enemy as she introduces herself. Akira apologizes for attacking them at the castle. She wasn't sure if they were enemies or not. The elf was able to join their quest line because she was near their area exploring when they were giving their objectives. The system thought that she was part of the group. Amano told her about Haga's story as they were coming to the inn, so she hugs the guy and gets emotional as she commends him on his dedication to his work all this time. She also praises Amano and tries to wake up Nicola, but Haga stops her. Things get serious when he asks her what she wants from them. Akira states that after being stuck in the game, her aim is to live a normal life within this world. This means evil seekers who make the mundane life impossible are her enemies. She also reveals that she has some friends, but she is currently traveling alone. Akira wants to travel with Haga and the others for now because she is impressed by how hard they work. She doesn't wait for a response and gets a room at their inn. Haga is a little wary of her, but Amano doesn't think she is a bad person. He tells Haga about how she sliced the boss in half without a second thought. He is sure that they can deal with her using the skull if she turns hostile. The guys decide not to tell her about Tesla. Amano also informs Haga that he has recovered his debugger stone and offers it to him for safekeeping, but Haga makes it clear that he trusts him with it. The following morning, Nicola is excited to have a new companion. They eat breakfast and decide to travel to Stamau. Akira can guide them there because she passed through the kingdom to get to their current location. Haga suggests to her not to use debug mode while they are together. She doesn't have a problem with that and says that she only uses it against bad seekers. The quartet set off after the meal. Nicola has equipped the necromancer's skull on her staff to help protect her along the way. Akira informs them that there is a village about 10 days' walk from the main road. Haga and his apprentice do their debugging work as they travel. The party also face some of the undead but swiftly deal with them. Nicola finds giant footprints, prompting Akira to inform them that there are giants that live in the mountains, but the area is safe if they stay out of their way. Haga can't help himself, so he goes to investigate when he finds human footprints too. After some more work, the party camp for the night. Akira and Haga have a cook-off with Amano and Tesla as the judges. The AI took over quicker than the enchantress when food is mentioned. After the meals are prepared and tasted, Akira is unanimously announced as the victor. Haga cries as she tries to cheer him up. The atmosphere changes when they sense something coming. They quickly scatter as a giant comes crashing into their camp. It has lost an arm and leg as it lands on Haga. He quickly gets out from under it when they feel something else coming towards them. Two giants rush out and attack, but Haga and Akira can fend them off. But it looks like the main goal of the giants was to retrieve their friend and skedaddle. The party guess that they are running away from something. This is confirmed when someone called Gadel dashes out. He's able to use his abnormal strength to push back Haga and Akira. Haga quickly de-escalates the situation when he sees that they are dealing with a human. He tells Gadel that he is a seeker. The brute gets excited and discloses that he's also one and shows his document. They find it strange that an NPC is a seeker, but they conclude that there could be a few in the game. They all sit around the fire where Gadel reveals that he was a normal villager before a seeker called Yamanaka came to their village. He was the one who gave Gadel the power to fight the giants. Haga is sure that this Yamanaka did something with the debug mode to grant such powers. The brute discloses that his mentor disappeared after giving him these powers. Haga wants to get to the bottom of this, so he asks Gadel to take him to the village. They later arrive after a short hike, and the residents of the village run away when they see Gadel. He takes them to the elder's house where some warriors wait. They are welcomed by the elders and given a place to stay the night. Akira notices that the younger warriors are not happy to see them, and as they eat, the tension in the air becomes more unbearable. Haga overhears the warriors talk among themselves about solving their problem, so later that night while his companions are sleeping, Haga heads out to see what is going on. Akira wakes up and gives him a whistle that can only be heard by elves. She will come to his aid if he blows it. He sneaks into the elder's house just as the young warriors ask for permission to eliminate Gadel. They complain about how unstable he is to the point that he attacks his allies. One of his victims comes forward, and he has lost both his hands and leg. The warriors feel like this is the perfect time to finish the brute off since he is sleeping and pumped with tipsy juice. Haga watches on worried. He hops down from his hidden place and pleads with them not to take Gadel's life. He wants to know what led to them having such animosity toward him. The elder explains how Gadel was taken by the giants when he was a baby. The villagers saved him while on one of their raids and decided to raise him. The lad lacked the blood of a fighter, so he couldn't become a warrior, but he still worked hard. The warriors of the village left to hunt one day, so the giants took the opportunity to attack. Yamanaka was passing by and decided to save the settlement. Gadel was amazed of the power of the Seeker, and Yamanaka also became fond of him. One day, the two left the village without a trace, so the people assumed that the Seeker took him on an adventure, so they stopped their search. A little while later, Gadel returned with his bootleg Conan the Barbarian transformation, saying that Yamanaka made him a Seeker. He informed them that a strange magic was used by the Seeker, and he disappeared after. After hearing this, Haga is sure that Yamanaka used debug mode to achieve this. The elder continues to explain how Gadel injured his own allies because he couldn't control his strength. The other warriors started to resent him because he was taking out all the giants, leaving them to do nothing. After hearing the story, Haga asks them to give him some time to sort this out. He returns to the tent and wakes up the others to explain the situation to them. Akira feels like the only way to fix things is to eliminate Gadel and Yamanaka, but Haga doesn't like that idea. The situation changes before they can agree on what to do. The warriors couldn't wait and attacked Gadel. The party rushed to his tent to find the brute in a distressed state. He crushes the last attacker as he discloses that his only wish was to protect the village. Haga prevents Akira from cutting Gadel down. This gives him the chance to escape to a waterfall cave, where Yamanaka used debug mode to increase Gadel's stats to its maximum. He wanted to help the lad get stronger and to be accepted by the other villagers. Presently, the brute enters the cave crying for the Seeker to change him back, but Yamanaka is paused in place holding his stone. The party arrives shortly after, and Haga notes that the wall texture for one side of the cave has yet to be completed. Tesla takes over Nicola's body and runs towards the commotion. A flashback reveals that Yamanaka entered free camera mode because he wanted to check how Gadel was getting on with his new powers. But this put him in a ghost-like state, making him unable to return to his body. He can hear Gadel's cries and feels bad for what he has done, but there is nothing he can do about it. Tesla informs Gadel that it can hear Yamanaka, and the Seeker is happy to learn this, but that joy doesn't last long when Tesla grabs his debug stone and eats it. It then tells Gadel to give up becoming normal again. This prompts the brute to go crazy and hit her into the wall. Haga gets enraged and attacks, but Gadel thinks that they have all come to bully him. Akira also joins the assault, but they are not able to stop the brute. The elf even gets badly injured in the process. Amano uses the skull to fire a blast that blows the brute back. They are stunned when he gets up looking more pissed. Haga grabs the injured ladies and orders Amano to follow him as they escape. Yamanaka is left crying as he regrets what he has done. Haga wants them to go back to the village to warn them about the upcoming danger. Gadel also steps out of the waterfall looking like he hasn't slept in 15 years. Akira recovers by the time they return to the village. Haga is shocked that the people are not willing to evacuate after hearing about the danger that is coming their way. The elf explains that the residents are warriors that are bound to their land forever. Their deliberation comes to an end when Gadel bursts through the gate and blows everyone back with each movement. The villagers try to stop him, but they are destroyed. Amano uses his invisibility spell to hide Nicola just long enough for him to get her to safety. Gadel continues his rampage and tosses a huge boulder that almost crushes some kids, but Haga uses his body to shield them and takes all the damage. A memory is triggered when Gadel remembers Yamanaka's words about the strong protecting the weak when he sees Haga doing just that. The brute calms down as he questions his current actions, but Akira is not willing to risk their lives on Gadel's sudden change of heart, so she uses debug mode to eliminate him. Haga is livid, but she makes her reasons clear and swears that this is her first time using it on an NPC. The argument stops when the giants mount an attack on the village. The party is forced to retreat due to their injuries sustained from fighting Gadel. It pains Haga to see the warrior settlement in flames. They turn their attention to Nicola, who still hasn't woken up after getting that smack. Akira suggests they travel to Sai, where they have a high priest that can revive her. 1 month later, they finally arrive at their destination, because Haga was looking for game bugs along the way. He only decided to do this because Nicola was still able to eat despite being unconscious. Haga and Amano are stunned to see hostile troops outside the city. Akira reveals that dealing with the rebel army is a side quest. They are awe-stricken when a giant hand comes out of the sky and crushes the troops. This opens the path for them to pass. Amano notes that the squash spell can only be used by the highest-ranking priests. The party are greeted at the city gates by two of Akira's friends named Ren and Akane. The quartet quickly gets settled in, and it's revealed that Ren and Akane are big fans of the newcomers after receiving information from Akira regarding their struggles. Ren is sure that Alba the leader will have a look at Nicola. He was the one who prevented them from falling into despair after being trapped in the game. Haga wonders if Alba is an NPC. Ren can see that the newcomers are stressed and suggests a way for them to reduce it. They write their worries on a piece of paper and burn it in a special dish. Akira and Akane also join in. Everyone feels a weight lifted from their shoulders after doing that. They then take a hot bath to further relax, but that gets interrupted when Alba makes an appearance. They all gather at the throne room where Alba heals Nicola. However, Tesla is still in control of the body. She summons a staff and hits Alba over the head. Ren prepares to fight, but the leader tells them to calm down. We come to know that Alba is also a meta AI, and each country has one. Their job is to maintain order in their areas. The 5 meta AI govern their respected districts under different principles, and they often meet up to discuss game-related issues. Tesla is like a big sister to Alba and berates him for acting like the king of his area. She demands to know what he's planning. Ren respectfully answers for his boss by outlining how he saved them from despair and has been actively doing his job by sending people like Akira around the world to deal with bad seekers. He appeals to Tesla to accept their way of life. Alba gets another smack to the head when he tries to argue that he can run his area how he sees fit. Tesla accepts their explanation for now and orders Ren to prepare a room for them. Everyone enters their respective chambers. Tesla later goes to see Haga to ask him to report Alba so that the developers will check to see if he's operating as normal. She goes back to bed to give Nicola some well-needed rest, and while that was going on, Alba has a meeting with his party to apologize for not telling them that he is an AI. Ren is more worried about the newcomers and offers to eliminate them. Alba doesn't think they need to pick a needless fight with Tesla. Akira, too, is opposed to that idea. Their meeting ends, and in that interval, Haga has finished his report. Just as he's about to send it, Alba casts a spell that transports Haga into a dungeon. His debugger stone is also missing. He only has some potions on hand and the whistle that Akira gave him, but he has no knife, which puts him at a disadvantage. He creates a torch and starts to explore after making a note of what has happened to him. Haga also blows the whistle, hoping that Akira will hear it. Meanwhile, in the throne room, Alba comments on how close Haga was to sending the report. It turns out that the Burning of Worries ritual was a spell that allows Alba to target those who participated. Ren reveals that Akira and Akane's names were also burnt. Alba is stunned to hear this. Along with Amano, the ladies were also transported, but they are together. The elf suspects that Ren has something to do with this. They proceed forward till they arrive at a lively casino, where they are welcomed by an attendant. Amano asks the NPCs how they came to this location, but they all give vague responses. He is flabbergasted to see that Akane has already settled in and playing some games. She got coins by signing a contract that uses her organs as collateral. Things get worse when they learn that she borrowed 1,000 coins, which means her heart, lungs, liver, pancreas, gallbladder, and kidneys are up for the taking. I'm no doctor, but I'm sure you need all of them to live. Akane is prevented from leaving because she has lost all her coins. She tries to fight her way out, but the guard informs her that they are in a non-combat area, so all damage is nullified. All the exits have been shut to make sure they pay before leaving. During that interval, Nicola wakes up. A turbo granny-looking maid informs her that she will be taking care of her and presents some food. However, the girl only wants to know where Haga is. The guy is busy in the dungeon using a wall-phasing bug to access a locked area. He proceeds and finds himself at a library. He starts to read the books to get a clue as to where he is, but he notices so many mistakes in it. His sickness of needing to report everything kicks in, so he starts to look through more books till a sound catches his attention. He goes to investigate and bumps into Kinoshita, who is a seeker who has also been trapped. She explains that she was originally a lizard person, but bought some equipment from a merchant that turned her into a question mark icon. Haga writes it down to report later. Kinoshita is surprised that he is still doing the work. She also reveals that she was suddenly transported to this location without her stone. Haga learns that they are stuck in a dungeon called Diamond, which is under the city's temple. They are currently on the 1,000th floor. She is so happy to finally have some company. She shows him an alchemist lab which they use to make potions in preparation for their escape. Kinoshita also shows the armor and weapons of all the people who tried to escape in the past. She then leads him to the open space at the end of the corridor. It is the home of the final boss called Silence. This goat monster sits there holding a chain looking all menacing. Haga grabs a pot and throws it into the open space. The creature attacks the moment it hears a sound before quickly grabbing the chain. Kinoshita doesn't think a pro gamer could counter these attacks. Haga is sure that this boss is supposed to be confronted with a party full of tanks who can absorb damage. He starts to think of a way to defeat this goat monster. They return to the library to find any useful clues. During that interval, Amano requests for some coins with the same deadly conditions as Akane. He hopes to use his poker skills to win the money needed to pay her debt. He has a strong start, but ends up losing, and begins to cry. Amano turns to Akira, hoping that she will offer her organs so that he can play one more game. His panic subsides when he sees Haga walking through the area searching for game bugs. Back on the surface, Nicola suspects that something wrong is going on and tries to find a glitched wall to escape from. The old lady comes in to change her sheets, and the girl considers using her as a captive, but she decides against it. She is later summoned by Alba, where she is told that Haga and Amano left her and continued their journey when she was unconscious. Ren lies as he explains how the guys thought that things would be too difficult for her going forward. Ren is adamant that Haga changed his mind about making her a seeker, but Nicola refuses to believe that. Alba has had enough of her babbling, so they send her to the village with some money, barely enough for the journey back. The old lady later gives her a pack lunch. Alba watches her leave his kingdom and is happy that Tesla didn't manifest. Meanwhile, in the dungeon, Haga shows the others how to use the wall phasing bug to leave the area. The male workers in the casino see this, so they turn into werewolves to retrieve the organs. A three-headed monster also joins the attack unit. The party run through the corridor as they get chased. Haga instructs them to be quiet and make sure that they land on the books. Turns out that the cover of the books absorbs sound. The three monsters chase them with all the rowdiness one would expect from them. They dash into the area, and the boss begins to attack them. But it starts to get tired because it must grab its chain after each attack. Haga gives Kinoshita the go-ahead to attack. She slices the fingers of the boss as it goes for Haga. It is unable to grab the chain, leading to it getting crushed by the spiked grid that it was holding. Akane and Akira rush over to hug Kinoshita when Haga mentions her name while commending her good work. We come to know that Kinoshita was a part of their group, who was also sent down by Alba. Akira and Akane were told that she had gone on a journey. All the while, Nicola stops to have her lunch just outside the city, but the wind blows it to the ground. As she picks it up, she thinks about everything that she's been through with everyone and realizes that her party would never leave her behind. Nicola is sure they are still in there because there is no way Haga would leave such a big city without looking for game bugs. She goes back to the city determined to get to the bottom of Ren's lies and to reunite with her comrades. That brings the series to an end.